May suffers heaviest parliamentary defeat of a British PM in the democratic-era Politics The Gua. MPs vote down EU withdrawal agreement in resounding defeat for Prime Minister. MPs vote down EU withdrawal agreement in resounding defeat for Prime Minister. Has sustained the heaviest parliamentary defeat of any British Prime Minister in the democratic era after MPs rejected her Brexit deal by a resounding majority of 230. The Prime Minister immediately announced that she would welcome a vote of no confidence in her own government, and would make time for it on Wednesday. The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, quickly confirmed he had tabled the motion, with the support of the leaders of all other opposition parties. Corbyn told MPs this is a catastrophic defeat. The House has delivered, May said if she survived the vote which appeared likely, after the Democratic Unionist Party said it would back her she would hold cross-party meetings with senior parliamentarians to identify what would be required to secure the backing of the House. Brexit-supporting Conservatives joined with opposition parties and the DUP to trounce the government in the meaningful vote, which the Prime Minister delayed before Christmas in the vain hope of winning over waverers. It means that Theresa May's deal has not passed and its record scale puts severe pressure on the Prime Minister. Immediately after, under parliamentary convention, if the official opposition tables a motion saying that the Leader of the Commons, Andrea Leadsom, has said that Wednesday's debate will run from the end of Prime Minister's questions at about 12:45 p.m. until 7 p.m., when there will be a vote. There would not be an immediate election. Instead, if this does not happen, then Parliament will be dissolved, with the standard 25 working day gap needed before the election is held. Since the provision has not yet been used, it remains unclear how, if at all, this grace period could potentially be used to form a different government, for example a coalition or a minority Labour administration. The signs point to no. However much she begins to dance around some form of Plan B. May said she would immediately start talks with both Tories and people in other parties in a constructive spirit to seek a deal that could win the support of the Commons. Whatever happens, she must present a motion in neutral terms presenting her proposed next steps to the Commons by Monday. This could be amended. May began the 8th day of the Brexit debate by making a last-ditch plea to colleagues to support her, warning them not to break their promise to the British people to deliver Brexit. This is the most significant vote that any of us will ever be part of in our political careers. After all the debate, together we can show the people we serve that their voices have been heard, that their trust was not misplaced. Earlier in the day, as one Conservative backbencher after another stood up in the House of Commons, it became clear that few had changed their mind. The whips urged MPs to abstain, rather than vote against the government. May herself embarked on a last-ditch charm offensive on Tuesday, holding meetings with MPs including the European Research Group's Steve Baker, who said the pair had held a constructive and substantial conversation about the future. Speaking just before the vote, the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, said the Prime Minister has treated Brexit as a matter for the Conservative Party, rather than the good of the whole country. He called the government's efforts to steer Brexit through Parliament one of the most chaotic and extraordinary parliamentary processes he had experienced in 35 years as an MP. The Attorney General, Geoffrey Cox, had earlier warned his colleagues that if they did not accept the deal, they risked condemning Britain to the chaos of a no-deal Brexit. It would be the height of, he argued that members of the public affected by no deal would say to MPs, "What are you playing at? What are you doing?" Both Labour and the Scottish National Party withdrew amendments to the government's motion at the last minute, to allow MPs a clean vote on the deal. Just one amendment, tabled by the Brexiteer John Barron and proposing a unilateral exit mechanism for the Irish backstop, was voted on and soundly defeated, by 600 votes to 24. Throughout the turbulent period since she became Prime Minister in the wake of the shock referendum result in 2016, May has battled to unite her party over Brexit. Despite that, the publication on Monday of letters between May and the European Commission President, Jean-Claude Juncker, about the Irish backstop failed to win over Tory MPs who feared the UK could be trapped in a quasi-permanent customs union. Downing Street said May opened her weekly cabinet meeting on Tuesday by saying the government was the servant of the people, and pledging to deliver the referendum result. She will now come. A spokesman for Donald Tusk, the president of the European Council, said we regret the outcome of the vote, and urged the UK government to clarify its intentions with respect to its next steps as soon as possible. Government defeats by more than 100 votes are vanishingly rare. The only ones
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.